The night before Halloween always carried a strange weight. The air grew denser, the moon seemed closer. Those who dared to stare beyond the veil felt something staring back. Patient, ancient, hungry. The whisper had a name, Samhain. In Crowhaven, an abandoned town hidden among endless forests, the soil refused to rest. Locals said the ground there breathed at midnight, and once a year it exhaled smoke that smelled of burnt honey and rot. They called it the breath of the dead. A century ago, the town disappeared after a fire with no origin. 13 bodies were found kneeling in a circle, faces melted into silent screams. At the center, a stone altar carved with a spiral that turned against time itself. The legend claimed it was built by the last priest of the Celtic fire cult, Elias O'Crowley. He sought not salvation, but a way to speak with the thing that walked when the year died. They say he succeeded, and the world forgot his price. When the veil between life and death weakens, shadows wander uninvited. But Crowhaven never closed the door. Every October, whispers leaked through the trees, calling names no living tongue should remember. At first, only animals vanished, then hunters, then entire families, gone with doors still locked. All that remained were small lanterns on porches, lit from within by blue flame, flickering as if breathing. By 1890, Crowhaven was erased from maps. The forest swallowed its roads, and the birds stopped singing. Only one sound remained, a low hum at midnight, like a hymn hummed by the earth itself. Years later, a group of college students found the ruins. They laughed at the warnings carved into the trees. 13 shall not burn. They thought it folklore. They set up camp inside the old church anyway. At midnight, their phones died. The air turned thick. A single lantern lit itself near the altar, glowing blue. They joked nervously, taking photos. When they checked the images, there were 13 people in the frame, but only 6 were alive. Screams echoed through the forest. The next morning, only ash remained. Investigators found a camera intact, showing the last seconds. A face forming in fire, smiling, whispering, "You woke me too early." Decades passed. Crowhaven became rumor again, but every Halloween, someone vanished near that forest. Those who searched found melted wax shaped like faces, still warm to the touch. An anthropologist named Lisa Moreau came to study the myth. She traced every report back to Elias O'Crowley's name. His journals spoke of Samhain not as a celebration, but as an ancient hunger demanding rebirth. Lisa discovered the truth. The cult had tried to bind the god of transition between years, not to worship, but to control it. The ritual failed. The fire learned to feed itself. It remembered faces. It wanted them back. She gathered the scattered relics, a mask of bone, a rusted sickle, and a book sealed with wax. Every page pulsed faintly, as if alive. The last line read, "When laughter meets the flame, the harvest begins." On October 30th, she lit a candle beside the relics. The flame turned blue instantly. Outside, the wind stopped. The shadows bent toward the window, stretching, whispering her name, not aloud, but inside her mind. The next day, 13 pumpkins appeared along the road to Crowhaven. No one had carved them, yet each bore the same twisted grin. Inside them burned the same unnatural blue light. The return had begun. That night, the moon vanished behind smoke that wasn't there. Radios hissed. Clocks froze at 11:59. Lisa drove toward the ruins with the book on her lap, feeling it vibrate like a living heart. She wasn't alone. Something moved in the back seat, a shadow darker than night, shaped like a man with no eyes. It whispered with her own voice. The door was never closed. She didn't scream. She only whispered back, then let it open. The forest awakened, trees twisted as if recoiling from the earth, the air filled with the scent of ash and honey. In the distance, the altar stone glowed. 13 lanterns ignited, forming a perfect circle around her. When Lisa stepped into the circle, her breath froze midair. The blue flames leaned toward her as if recognizing their maker. From the center of the altar, a voice older than language rose. "The harvest has waited long enough." The flames rose higher, swirling around Lysa. In the center of the fire, shapes began to emerge, the silhouettes of those who had vanished. They didn't scream, they only watched, eyes hollow, mouths stitched with smoke. A voice whispered from every direction, 13 for the door, 1 for the key. The ground cracked, revealing the spiral beneath. It pulsed like a living heart, and the blue fire sank into it, sealing the pact once more. Lisa's body fell, but her eyes kept burning with light. The forest calmed. Crows returned to the trees. By dawn, Crowhaven had vanished again, leaving only a single pumpkin glowing in the mist. Years later, the legends became stories told at parties. No one believed them. Yet every Halloween, some houses woke to find a pumpkin on their doorstep, flickering blue, the air heavy with the scent of burnt honey. In 1987, an archaeologist named Marcus Dean unearthed a piece of the spiral stone. He thought it was a relic of Celtic art. Within hours, he began hearing whispers through the static of his radio, calling his name backward. Marcus's notes became erratic. He wrote the same phrase over and over. The harvest remembers. On the 31st, neighbors saw blue light escaping from his windows. His house burned, yet his body was never found. The government sealed the site, calling it a chemical anomaly, but scientists who examined the remains described seeing patterns of eyes inside the ashes. Every photograph taken of the crater came out blurred, as if the image resisted capture. Crowhaven returned to maps once more, though no one remembered who approved it. A new settlement was built nearby, Hollow Creek. The first thing they constructed was a church, though no one there was particularly religious. The priest, Father Harlan, kept records of strange confessions, dreams of laughter echoing from underground, children drawing spirals on the church floor, candles lighting themselves during sermons. He began to suspect the old legend was true. One night he found a note under the altar. When the 13th bell tolls, step outside. He did. The church bells rang 13 times, and when he looked up, the moon was burning blue. The next morning, the congregation found him frozen at the door, his eyes wide open, a smile carved into his face. Inside the church, every candle burned with a flame that bent toward his corpse, as if bowing. The townspeople fled. Hollow Creek was abandoned within a week. Journalists later discovered that the town's foundation lay directly over the buried spiral of Crowhaven. The cycle had started again, beneath a new name. By the early 2000s, the internet revived the story. Forums filled with people sharing the Crowhaven files. Photos, sounds, strange recordings. Skeptics dismissed them as creepypastas. But one video showed something no one could explain. In it, a man lit a blue candle and laughed. The sound twisted, the laughter repeating out of sync. The camera shook. Then, for a fraction of a second, 13 faces appeared behind him, smiling, before the screen went black. Authorities traced the upload to an account registered to Marcus Dean, the archaeologist who vanished in 1987. His profile showed recent activity. The bio read, "The flame never dies." Researchers attempted to decode the coordinates hidden in the video metadata. They pointed directly to the ruins of Crowhaven. A group of investigators went there. None returned. Only their phones did, showing recordings of laughter in total darkness. In one clip, a voice asked, "Do you believe now?" followed by silence, then the sound of a match striking. The screen filled with blue light, and a whisper came, "Belief is the final door." Within months, copycat rituals spread online. Teenagers lit candles and recited phrases from the journal fragments. Some vanished, others went insane. Psychologists called it Samhain syndrome. No treatment worked. Governments banned the videos. Servers hosting them mysteriously caught fire. Every attempt to erase the myth only made it grow stronger. Crowhaven's coordinates became the most searched location on the dark web. And each Halloween, exactly at midnight, thousands reported seeing blue flames flickering in mirrors, reflections that didn't match. They laughed, thinking it a prank, but somewhere, something laughed back. The following year, the fires spread beyond Crowhaven. Cities miles away reported phantom heat, blue reflections appearing in glass even without flame. Meteorologists blamed solar interference, but the laughter on recordings said otherwise. Lisa Moreau's old research resurfaced online. Her handwriting matched the symbols etched into new crop circles across Europe. 13 spirals, always counterclockwise, burned into the soil like scars on the Earth's skin. A secret organization formed, the Lantern Order. They believed Samhain's return was inevitable but controllable. Their doctrine: harness the flame, guide the harvest. Their first ritual was streamed live to thousands. The stream cut after 7 minutes. Those who watched to the end reported hearing whispers coming from their devices for weeks. Some swore their screens still flickered blue whenever they tried to turn them off. In remote towns, lanterns began to appear on doorsteps again, no matter how many times people removed them. One family in Vermont filmed the moment they opened the door to find a pumpkin breathing, literally inhaling air. Doctors said it was a prank using dry ice, but when the footage was slowed, faint heartbeats matched the rhythm of human lungs. The pumpkin's carved smile expanded slightly between breaths. Paranoia spread. People refused to celebrate Halloween. Schools banned costumes, but fear itself only fed the legend. For every candle blown out, a new one lit somewhere else, always burning blue. Then came the 13th year, the year the veil would tear completely. The Order of Lanterns prepared one final ritual, promising to seal Samhain forever. They gathered in the ruins of Crowhaven under a full blood moon. Cameras recorded their chanting. The air pulsed. For a brief moment, the sky turned inside out. Stars twisted into spirals. The footage ended with a single word whispered in hundreds of voices: home. No one from the Order was ever found. Only their lanterns remained, fused into the stone as if melted by lightning. Scientists detected traces of carbon mixed with salt and something unidentifiable, like crystallized blood. After that night, every clock in a 100-mile radius lost 13 seconds. Electronics failed. Fires refused to die. And in the silence between ticks, some people swore they heard breathing beneath the earth. From that moment, the world entered what historians later called the Blue Cycle, 13 years of chaos. Fires without source, people vanishing mid-conversation, shadows acting independently of their owners. Governments collapsed trying to explain it. Religions merged. New cults rose claiming Samhain was the planet's punishment, the earth cleansing itself through fire. But others whispered the god was only hungry again. By the 5th year, the oceans glowed faintly at night. Fish washed ashore with eyes burned black. In cities, blue embers fell from the sky like rain. Some thought it beautiful, until they realized the embers burned only human skin. Researchers in Iceland discovered that the spiral pattern was spreading across glaciers, burned into the ice from within. They recorded vibrations beneath the surface, a deep rhythmic pulse matching a human heartbeat. One of them, Dr. Carlson, whispered before vanishing, "It's not death coming, it's memory." His last words were caught on radio static, repeating endlessly for 13 minutes before cutting to silence. The blue cycle peaked on October 31st of the 13th year. Across the world, every reflective surface turned dark. Mirrors, glass, water, all became windows showing another world, burning, laughing, waiting. Crowhaven reappeared, not in one place, but in thousands. A spectral version of the town materialized over cities like a ghost overlay. People walked through the mirage and never came back. Those who looked too long lost their faces in reflections. By midnight, the laughter became physical. It crawled through walls, through blood, through thought. Those who still clung to reason heard the same phrase echo inside their skulls. The harvest remembers. Then silence. The next morning, the blue light was gone. The skies cleared. Humanity thought it had survived. But under every city, deep in the soil, burned faint traces of the spiral, waiting for the next cycle to begin. The survivors called it peace, but it was only hibernation. The fires rested beneath the ground, feeding on memories, waiting. Those who dreamed too deeply woke with ash on their lips and laughter echoing inside their ears. A century later, historians rediscovered the legend and renamed it the Night of Veils. Scholars tried to rationalize the events, calling them mass hysteria. Yet every October, their labs filled with the scent of burnt honey. One of them, Dr. Alina Graves, collected the remaining fragments of O'Crowley's scriptures. She deciphered a warning written backward. "Do not mourn the fire. It mourns you." That night, her entire building caught fire without heat. Witnesses said the flames made no sound. Only her voice could be heard, calm and distant, reciting ancient words through the smoke. When firefighters broke in, nothing remained but a spiral of soot and her wedding ring in the center. Crowhaven's name returned to whispers, to podcasts, to children's tales. But something new began. Spontaneous laughter during power outages, the kind that started softly and spread through entire neighborhoods. Cameras captured it once, streets empty, lights flickering blue, and laughter echoing from nowhere. Audio analysis revealed 13 overlapping voices, each repeating a different name, all belonging to people long dead. Governments tried to suppress the recordings, but they spread faster than any virus. Fear turned viral. People started painting spirals on doors for protection, unaware they were tracing Samhain's sigil, the mark of invitation. By 2131, the cycle reached its peak again. The veil thinned to transparency. The sky darkened even at noon. Clocks froze perpetually at 11:59. The world held its breath, waiting for something ancient to exhale once more. Then came the flamefall, when rain turned to fire and the oceans burned blue. Entire continents vanished overnight. Survivors gathered in circles, whispering the name of the old god like a prayer and a curse intertwined. For 13 nights the fire sang, not crackling, singing. Each flame held faces within it, mouthing the same word again and again. Remember. And the world did, because forgetting was no longer an option. After the flamefall, the survivors built cities underground. They called them sanctums. Above ground, nothing grew. The air shimmered with faint light, remnants of Samhain's breath, glowing like embers in the sky. Technology regressed, faith fractured, and time lost meaning. People measured life by cycles of darkness and silence. But the old myths endured, carved on walls. When the flame sleeps, so does death. In the 12th sanctum, a child named Lisa, named after the old researcher, began drawing spirals in ash. She said they were memories, not symbols. She claimed to hear laughter beneath the stone floors, growing louder each night. Her mother forbade her to draw, but the walls drew themselves. Spirals appeared overnight, etched deep into metal and bone. The air turned colder. The blue light returned, not from fire, but from within the people's eyes. When the elders confronted the child, she simply smiled and said, "He's waking up." Then the ground began to hum, a low vibration shaking every sanctum at once. The ancient god had found his voice again. From the depths of the earth rose a new flame, colorless, invisible, but felt in every heartbeat. The survivors called it the hollow fire. It consumed not flesh, but memory. Entire families forgot themselves in minutes. Lisa led them to the surface, where the air shimmered with long-forgotten stars. She whispered, "The fire forgives." But forgiveness was not mercy. It was reclamation. The sky opened, raining blue dust that glowed like tears. The survivors saw faces in the storm, ancient, familiar, their own reflections laughing through the haze. Samhain had become the world itself. The veil was no longer between realms. It was inside every living thing. Centuries passed, and history folded in on itself. The line between myth and memory dissolved. People lived under an eternal twilight, guided by faint lanterns. They called the light the breath of the dead once again. In that dim world, stories of Crowhaven returned as lullabies. Children whispered them before sleep, believing they kept nightmares away. But the laughter in the dark was never gone. It was only waiting for someone to listen. A new cult emerged, the Ash Choir. They believed that laughter was divine language, the sound of creation reversing itself. Their hymns were not sung, but exhaled, a chorus of whispers vibrating through tunnels. The choir promised salvation through remembrance. They burned effigies of pumpkins and wore masks carved from obsidian, each mask etched with spirals. Their leader, known only as the Lantern Saint, claimed to be Crowhaven reborn. Under the saint's guidance, the choir built towers of light powered by human memory. Volunteers would step into the flame willingly, their minds fueling the glow. The towers flickered with faces, loved ones smiling through smoke. But one night, a tower in Sanctum 9 imploded inward. Instead of light, darkness spilled out, thick and alive. It spread like fog, erasing sound. Within minutes, the entire city vanished as if swallowed by a shadow's breath. The Lantern Saint declared it a return to origin. His followers rejoiced as he lit himself ablaze, but his fire burned black. And from that blackness, shapes crawled, human silhouettes without faces, whispering in reverse. The choir scattered. Survivors spoke of cities dissolving into echoes, of people turning to glass. The hollow fire had learned hunger again, not for flesh or thought, but for the sound of fear itself. In the ruins of Sanctum 9, only one structure remained intact, an ancient clock tower frozen at 11:59. Yet every October 31st, its gears moved for exactly 13 seconds, long enough for laughter to echo once more. Archivists rebuilt society around the clock, calling it the last lantern. They believed time itself was the barrier keeping Samhain asleep. So they guarded the seconds like sacred relics, measuring every breath against them. Centuries later, the story of the last lantern became law. Timekeeping was worship. Clocks were altars. And anyone caught tampering with time was burned at the stake. A ritual irony lost on those performing it. Then, one night, a crack appeared in the last lantern's glass. Just a hairline fracture, but enough. Blue light seeped through like liquid. The world held its breath. The second hand twitched for the first time in 1,000 years. A single boy, nameless, faceless, touched the light. Witnesses said his eyes reflected stars unseen since the flamefall. When he spoke, his voice carried two tones, one human, one ancient. "I remember," he said. The lantern shattered. Time unraveled. Clocks bled seconds into the air like dust. People aged and reversed in the same breath. The horizon folded inward. The sky cracked, revealing another beneath, burning, laughing, alive. Reality fractured. Streets looped into themselves. Buildings floated in silence. The boy stood at the center, glowing faintly blue. He whispered the old words of Samhain, words not heard since Crowhaven's first fire. Every sound inverted, every shadow screamed. Then, stillness. The world blinked out for exactly 13 seconds. When sight returned, humanity was gone. Only the laughter remained, soft and endless, echoing between dimensions. But it wasn't the end. In the ashes of reality, something began to move. Light forming shapes, faces reforming out of memory. The boy, or what was left of him, looked up and smiled. "He's home," he whispered. The sky exhaled blue mist. Planets aligned. Time became a circle once more, endless, repeating, devouring itself. The legend of Samhain had transcended myth. It had become the architecture of existence. Now, each October 31st, the universe breathes differently. Stars flicker as if remembering. Comets leave trails shaped like spirals. And in certain frequencies, if you listen long enough, you can hear it. Laughter in the void. Historians in future aeons will call it cosmic recursion. Poets will call it divine hunger. But the truth is simpler. The harvest never ended. It merely changed its field from soil to stars. Somewhere beyond time, Crowhaven still burns. A ghost town flickering between worlds, its lanterns fueled by memory, its streets whispering the same warning carved into every mirror. The fire forgives nothing. And when you feel that chill on Halloween night, when the wind laughs and your reflection flickers blue, remember, you are not celebrating the past. You are part of it. The harvest remembers. And it's calling your name. The wind carries names now, whispers of those who once defied the fire. They drift across time like ash, settling in the lungs of the living, reminding them that the story never really stopped burning. Every Halloween, new towns emerge where no map remembers them. Their streets mirror Crowhaven's design, and their clocks are always stuck at 11:59. Locals swear they can hear faint music beneath the pavement. No one builds those towns. They just appear, fully formed, their houses flickering with a blue glow. Those who enter never return. Yet sometimes, a soft laughter leaks from their chimneys long after midnight. Researchers call them echo settlements. Superstitious survivors call them harvest mouths. But everyone agrees on one thing: the laughter grows louder every year, as if the earth itself were remembering. Somewhere deep underground, machines begin to hum again, remnants of the old sanctums. Their gears turn without power, fueled by the pulse of the world. The hollow fire never died. It simply learned to hide. And those who still dream of light wake with spirals drawn into their skin, not carved, not tattooed, but burned from within, glowing faintly beneath the flesh like blue veins of memory. The new prophets claim its evolution, humanity merging with the God it once feared. They call themselves the Remembered. Their eyes reflect the void, and their laughter sounds exactly like Crowhaven's bells. Among them walks a woman with a cracked lantern. She carries it close to her chest, whispering to it as if it were alive. When asked her name, she smiles softly. "My name is Lisa, and I found the path home." Behind her, the ground glows faintly blue wherever she steps. Cities rise and crumble in her wake, time folding around her presence. Every second bends toward her heartbeat, the rhythm of the fire reborn. She reaches the ruins of Crowhaven, or what remains of it between worlds. The town still burns, silent and slow, every flame moving like it breathes. In the center stands the original clock, still frozen at 11:59. Lisa lifts her lantern. The blue flame inside flickers violently, sensing its origin. The ground trembles, the air hums. From the silence, a voice older than creation speaks through her. "Do you remember me?" The question pierces reality. Memories flood back. Every cycle, every fire, every scream. Humanity's history collapses into one heartbeat. Lisa's eyes turn white, her voice merging with the gods. Through her, Samhain speaks. "I was never your monster. I was your mirror. You built me from fear, fed me with stories, and called it faith." The flames bend toward her, wrapping her in light like liquid glass. Her body disintegrates, becoming dust and sound. The laughter returns, but softer now, mournful. The fire dims for the first time in eternity. The harvest god finally rests, or pretends to. In the aftermath, the world glows faintly blue once more. Not burning, not freezing, remembering. Oceans hum with echoes of voices long gone. The air tastes of ash and honey. Time begins again, slower this time. A new dawn rises over Crowhaven's ashes. Children are born with glowing eyes, laughter gentle as wind. They do not fear the dark. For them, the flame is no longer curse or salvation, it's heritage. Historians of the New World gather the fragments and call them scripture. They write of a cycle endless, of gods that dream in smoke, of mortals who became myth by remembering too deeply. And every year, when the veil grows thin, they light their lanterns not in fear, but in reverence. For they know that behind the laughter, behind the fire, there is love twisted by eternity, a love that remembers. On the 13th stroke of the last lantern's clock, the blue flame flares one final time, illuminating the faces of the children watching. In their reflections, the past smiles back, whispering, "Happy Halloween." And somewhere beyond time, the god Samhain opens its eyes once more, not as a monster, but as memory itself. The fire breathes, the laughter returns, the harvest begins again. The stars pulse slower now, as if the universe itself were catching its breath. In the silence between constellations, the laughter softens, not gone, only sleeping. The fire has learned patience. It waits for names yet unborn. Through the ashes of 1,000 worlds, faint voices whisper like wind through bone. They tell stories not of gods or monsters, but of memory itself, how remembrance can burn brighter than any sun. Somewhere, in a forgotten corner of the cosmos, a single lantern floats, its flame small but eternal. Inside, it flickers every scream, every prayer, every echo of Crowhaven. The universe carries it like a heartbeat. And when a new world forms, that light will fall again, disguised as celebration, masked as Halloween, reborn as tradition. Children will carve smiles into pumpkins, never knowing whose laughter they're imitating. So when the candles burn low and the night grows too quiet, listen. The story still breathes. The harvest remembers. And if you survived this tale, follow the flame, follow the voice, and join us before the laughter finds you.